Hi everyone, this is Nikki Rowland and today I'm designing a layout for Hip Kit Club and I'm using the May kits. So I have all the kits to play with, the main kit, the embellishment kit, the colour kit, and I'm also being inspired by this month's mood board. I'm quite late in the month with my mood board layout. The inspiration that we've had already from the design team is absolutely out of this world. So there is so many amazing projects, and I was thinking, what can I do that's different and that would also be inspired by the mood board. So like everyone else, or like lots of others, I have been inspired by the rainbow image. So it's a vertical rainbow, which is not something we see all that often. They're normally like in a big curve, but I've gone for the vertical rainbow, and those stripes from the Pink Paislee 5th and Monaco paper spoke to me, and I'm not going for traditional rainbow colours, but I'm picking out 4 colours from the paper. So I've cut that paper into lots of strips and I'm sticking with green, pink, dark pink and orange. I think it's a really lovely colour scheme. And instead of flowers, I'm going to do clouds, because in my mind rainbows should have clouds. Even though it's lovely to have the flowers, the clouds made more sense to me. So I have just hand drawn myself a few clouds onto a piece of white cardstock and cut them out. And now I have got all of my strips of paper, and I'm going to cut them into smaller strips and distress all the edges, and then I'm going to arrange them on my paper. Now the mood board had a vertical rainbow, so the flowers were at the top and the stripes from the rainbow were falling down from those flowers. I'm going the other way around, and I'm going to have my strips of paper towards the top of my layout and my clouds are going to be at the bottom. So I'm just trying to do something a little different. I did think about putting the clouds at the top, but then it just didn't really work with my photo. I wanted the colours to sit behind my photo, and I couldn't quite make it work with the clouds at the top. So I've gone for clouds at the bottom, and they're going to go all the way across the bottom, bottom of my colours there, basically across the middle of my page. So I've literally just hand cut these clouds. I literally drew them onto a piece of paper and cut them out. And then I wasn't happy with only having 3 of them. Once I'd got my photo and all my strips in place, I felt that I needed a few more. So I have cut out a couple more, but larger ones, so much bigger. So I have 3 smallish ones and 2 quite large ones, and I'm going to arrange them onto the layout something like this. And my plan is to stitch around them with hand stitching, and I plan to match the colours of my strips with the colours on the clouds. So I am just marking each cloud and working out what colours need to go on which clouds, so that I can pull out my embroidery threads and start stitching. And some of my clouds I'm going to have half orange and half pink, and there's a half light pink and a half dark pink. So I just marked them on the back with a pencil what colours I was looking for. And I'm going to stick each one onto another piece of white cardstock. So it's the same white cardstock that I used. And then I realised that, of course, by doing that, I've now covered up the note I had on the back of my cloud. So I have stuck it on and rewritten it. The reason I've stuck it on to a piece of white cardstock is because I'm going to stitch around the exact edge of the cloud I've already cut out. So rather than pierce holes like on an internal line, I'm going to pierce holes exactly around the edge of my clouds. So I can basically use the shape I've already cut as a guide. And I just find this an easier way of adding stitching to my any kind of paper pieced shapes like this. I just find that an easier method to do that. I learnt that from the fabulous Lisa Fonseca, who came over to the UK and taught us at a retreat, and she did that, and I was like, wow, that's a game changer. That changes the way I do stitching forever. Now my stitching will forever be neat, because it follows the line exactly, rather than piercing internally and trying to create the same shape perfectly. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just going through all of my clouds and I'm adding stitching holes around the edges of all of those, having stuck them onto another piece of paper. Now if these weren't clouds, if they were a different shape, then I would probably have chosen a different colour paper or card to go behind them, but because they're clouds, I wanted them to just be white and just have the colour in the stitching line. So you can see that I'm using embroidery thread there. I've pulled out 4 colours that are the same as my strips of paper, and I'm using all 6 strands, so I'm going for a chunky look in my stitching, and I'm just going round doing a back stitch all the way around all those stitching holes that I've just created. And of course I will pause the video in a moment and go and do the rest of this in front of the TV. And then I'll come back now with them all magically completed. So there you go, that was an hour or so sitting in front of a TV program or a film with my boy, I think, while I sat and did that. So that was quite nice. I like stitching on layouts. If you have time, then it's always really rewarding. I love the results, but sometimes you just don't have the time or the patience to go and spend an hour or sometimes 2 or 3 hours doing something, doing all that stitching. So but this, I have done this layout, and I've done another one recently that's not been released yet, that is full of paper piecing and loads of stitching, and I just love it. I really love it. So I really am thinking I should do some more stitching. I just have to make sure I have enough time. Okay, so my clouds are done, and now what I'm doing is I'm just cutting around the edges with a pair of scissors. So I'm leaving a, not wide, but a border. It's a couple of millimeters, or maybe even 1/8 of an inch, all the way around the edge. And I've just done that freehand with scissors following the line, so I'm happy with how they look. I wanted these to look doodled. I didn't want them to be perfect clouds, that's why I didn't use a cut file. I just wanted them to be, you know, random doodles by me, and then stitched. So I'm really happy with how these look. I say I was a bit worried about doing this layout because we have had so many amazing projects by the design team already using this fantastic mood board, and I just can't, I'm blown away by the things that people have done. The vertical rainbow by Annette with all the threads hanging down, amazing. There's a mini book that had the rainbow replicated on the spine. Such amazing projects that we've had, and I was just like, how can I compete? So I still don't think my layout does compete with everyone else's amazing creations, but I think it's passable, it's okay. I'm happy with it, and it does look quite cute with the doodled clouds and the stitching too, so I'm happy. Okay, so I'm getting my photo in place now, and I'm working on my embellishments. So I have got, I'm trying to pick out the same colours, of course, that are in the coloured strips on the background. Oh, by the way, I don't know if you can tell from the video, but my background is pink, so I've picked out a piece of, I think it's tutu pink basil, from the colour, not the colour kit, the cardstock kit this month, and I've used that for my background. I rarely use cardstock as my background because I just don't. But the pink, the very pale pink, works really well. I can just about get on board with that. It's almost white, but just a little bit pink, so I can work with that. So yeah, so I have a pink background, which is a bit unlike me, but I do like doing it every now and then. I've pulled out that funky lime green pigeon who's holding a letter. He's from the Vicki Boutin ephemera. I've pulled out a large lime green camera that's also from the Vicki Boutin ephemera. Over on the right hand side I've got a flower that's from the 5th of Monaco stickers. Then I've got me and you hexagon that's just tucking out from the right hand side of my photo. That's also from the 5th of Monaco cardstock stickers, and the butterflies from the same place, and there's another flower, bright pink, hot pink flower under there as well. That's also a sticker. You can see what I'm doing. I'm kind of aiming for colour on colour. I didn't have much in the way of light pink, so I've only got the one light pink flower that is crossing over from the light pink to the dark pink. Underneath the photo I have got the word taking it easy, so I mounted my photo onto a journaling card from the Pocket Life kit and distressed the edges of that, but before I did it I took out the words that were on it, so never want to waste anything, right? So it had taking it easy written on the journaling card, so I've cut that out and I'm sticking that on the cloud underneath my photo. I've also put out a little date label in orange from the Stamp Market ephemera, and now I'm going through the Amy Tan foam icon thickers, all those little icons. They're really cool. I love these as a set of embellishments. They're brilliant. I'm just adding some bits there. So I've just added a bright pink flower. I've got a bright pink like arrow tab thing over on the right, over on the left. On the green I've added the word lovely, and then I've also got the word today coming out from above the camera. There's also the word yes, that's in a circle, that's a 5th of Monaco sticker. And I'm going for my title, I'm going for the word life from the Vicki Boutin ephemera. It was supposed to be, I can't remember what it was. It had 2 words together, and I've used the other word on something else. I'm just looking around to see if I can see what I've used it on. But I can't remember what I've used it for. But anyway, it should have been something life or life something. But I've separated the 2 out, and I've used the previous word on a different layout, and this one I'm just using as it is, life, as it is like this. And I'm coupling it with a few words from elsewhere. So the word live is from the Pink Paislee silver holographic thickers. I think they're holographic, I think that's the right word. Thickers, so live, life is my Vicki Boutin word, and then happy is a white foam, glittery foam word from the Amy Tan icon thickers. So I have my lovely title, Live Life Happy. We are sat in the garden, sunbathing, eating ice lollies. It's been summer in spring this year, so we've spent quite a bit of time in the garden. It's absolutely chucking it down with rain today, and my little boy said to me, Mummy, we're supposed to have this weather in spring, not summer. I was like, you're right, Max, absolutely, you're right. I don't know what's going on. I said, go and speak to the clouds and tell them off. So he did. But unfortunately, they haven't listened, and it's still absolutely chucking it down with rain at the moment. So let's bring summer back, please. So I'm just adding some threads of gold machine thread to my layout. Just wrapped it around my fingers and tucked those in. I'm getting right down to the bottom of the bobbin, so it's pretty curly, so it's not really behaving itself that well, so I've just had to poke it in. I flirted with the idea of putting a border behind this layout, but decided against it. I'm just going to put a piece of black and white paper at the bottom. I think that's a 5th of Monaco paper. Yeah, it was one of the strips. It was the rest of the strips that I had got cut up that were the wrong colours, or that I didn't use. So I've just used the other side, which is black and white floral print, and I've stuck those at the bottom to give it a bit of grounding. Just adding a small cluster down there too. So right now sticker and some cherries and a gold star. Nothing major down there, just a little tiny bit of interest to bring your eye down towards the bottom of the layout and link the title to the bottom. I've also, around the top of the layout with all of the, over the stripes, I've added those white and clear enamel dots. Now, I think they were a mistake. I don't think we were supposed to get those, but I tell you what, I absolutely love them. And I would never have thought I would be excited by white and clear enamel dots, but I really am. I think it works because I have a pink background, but even the clear ones show up beautifully. They kind of remind me of rain or, you know, floating bits of cloud, so that's where I went with that. So I put loads of them on. I've put them all over the coloured strips and the clouds and brought them down towards the bottom as well. I just finished off my layout with a few splatters of orange ink from the stamp marker ink pads, and that's me done. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have enjoyed this layout. I really enjoyed making it with the stitched clouds. They're really cute. I love how it turned out. Don't forget that if you are a Hip Kit Club subscriber, you get the main kit at a reduced price. You get a 15% discount on all add-on kits, and you get access to exclusive subscriber cut files. So lots of reasons to subscribe there. Okay, thank you so much for joining me today for that mood board inspired layout. That was Niki Rowland for Hip Kit Club.